Right everyone, it is Finn here, and today we're going to be ranking every single Premier League club's home kits ahead of the 25-26 season. Now I was going to record and release this video yesterday, but Bournemouth have literally just released their kits, because much like Manchester United signing any player from Real Madrid, they always do it far later than anyone asks them to.
They do this every year.
But you know what, we do have 20 fantastic, well, some not so fantastic kits to talk about, and we're going to be ranking them from 20th to first place. Now before we do that, you guys know the drill by now. In the comment section down below, I want you to tell me what your favorite kit is ahead of this brand new season. It doesn't have to be from the Premier League, can be from anywhere in the world. Home, away, third, you let me know. But jumping into 20th place, I've gone for Sunderland. I'm personally not a huge fan of whatever that step ladder weird pattern is that they have going down the red and the white stripes. I mean, I was a huge fan of the series Sunderland till I die, but maybe my answer is now Sunderland until they release this kit. I'm not a fan of it personally. I do think they should have just gone traditional red and white stripes. I could see this as a championship kit, and you know what, I mean, players might actually avoid trying to play in this and they might actually get relegated.
So what's the difference? We're used to it. Nobody knows where Sunderland is.
In 19th place, I've gone for Brighton. Now, I know this one might sound a bit contradictory, considering the last one I said just have plain stripes. Now, Brighton have done the plain blue and white, but I've personally really liked in the past where they have done something a tiny bit different, kind of having irregular side stripes, maybe adding a bit of yellow in there to break up the pattern. Now, it's not the stripes that get me on this, it is the collar. The fact that the collar is off center, there's a thicker one than the other one. I think it's going to be an overlaying pattern, and to me, as someone who's probably slightly OCD, I'm just not a huge fan of it. In 18th place, I've gone for Fulham, and once again, a huge part to why I've ranked this one so low is because I do find it quite boring. I know it is an Adidas template. We've got a few other jerseys later on, I think, that are also Adidas templates, but I just personally have liked Fulham kits in the past where they have had kind of the red Adidas stripes on one and the white on the other. They've done some funky stuff over the years, and I just find in comparison that this one is extremely boring. I mean, literally instead of the white sleeves, if they just put black there, they don't even have to have red, white, whatever kind of pattern on each one, but maybe if they just made the sleeves a different color, I would have been a bigger fan. 17th place, we've got Tottenham, very close to what they were in the Premier League last season. In fact, what were they in this season? Oh wait, no, they were 17th in the Premier League. Okay, you know what, this one is the perfect fit then. Look, don't get me wrong, a Spurs kit is a Spurs kit, but this is definitely a downgrade compared to last season if you ask me. I don't like how they've centralized everything. I think it looks a tiny bit messy. I don't like the sleeves compared to last year. I do think it looks like they've almost gone to a gym and gotten resistant bands or a backpack and tied it around their arms. I just don't like it. It's a tiny bit messy, especially considering that last season they won their first trophy in what, like 17 years? They could have gone for something slightly more special. I don't like it. I find it an odd design. 16th place, West Ham. Now, I promise this won't be my critique and the same problem I have with all of the kits that I'm not a huge fan of, but once again, it is a boring kit compared to what we've seen in the last one. Now, I do want to preface that a lot of the kits that I'm ranking in this video, I'm not necessarily taking cultural elements that they're putting into the jersey. I'm basing these jerseys purely off of aesthetic. And if you had to look at this West Ham jersey compared to some other ones, I mean, we had that beautiful one not too long ago with the bubbles on it. Once again, that was a great tradition, part of West Ham's history that they included into the kit. I do find this one a tiny bit boring. I don't hate the collar and the sleeves, but once again, the jersey as a whole just isn't really doing anything for me, and it's once again much like the Sunderland kit I mentioned earlier. It doesn't scream Premier League. There's nothing special about this one in my opinion.
I think I'm a special one.
In 15th place, we've got Brentford. Now, I've always stated that sponsors could make or break a kit, and I'm not a huge fan of the Hollywood Bets logo. I just don't think it's got a correct place on this kit. It does stick out like a sore thumb. I did like last year where they kind of had that black gradient and a bit of black by the sleeves. I know it was a tiny bit Marmite, you either love it or you hate it, but I do find once again this one, it is a downgrade compared to last season. I don't hate the black they've got by the collar, but I also don't love it at the same time. I also find that there are weird cuts and little slits here and there on the kit, like by the side as well. I'm just not a huge fan of the kit, and it is a downgrade compared to last season if you did ask me. 14th place, we've got Aston Villa. Now, this one is very similar to last season's kit. The one thing that they have changed though is the collar. They've gotten rid of the pattern that they did have, and I'll be honest with you, I really like that collar. It was something that did stand out. Now, once again, I know it's kind of a controversial thing because those kinds of collars, you either love them or you hate hate them, but I did think it was a nice break compared to the rest of the kits. I mean, to break them up from teams like Burnley and teams like West Ham, the obviously claret and blue, those kits can always kind of look semi-similar, but I did find that pattern did differentiate them a tiny bit. But yeah, now it just looks like they could be run by Sean Dyche in 2018.
And no, I definitely, for the record, I definitely don't eat worms.
13th place, it's Crystal Palace. Now I know 13 out of 20 does not sound like a good placement, but I don't hate this jersey. I actually quite like it. It is just the fact that I do think that there are at least 12 better kits maybe this season. Look, I think this kit does look beautiful on some players like Jean-Philippe Mateta, although Jean-Philippe Mateta could make absolutely anything or nothing look good at the same time. But yeah, we've been spoiled for choice with some of the recent Crystal Palace kits. We've had beautiful designs. So just in comparison, once again, I'm not a huge fan of it. 12th place, we've got Arsenal. Now, you know what? I do give them somewhat kind of credit for doing something different this year, kind of with the A pattern across the entire torso. But at the end of the day, it is just like any other Arsenal kit. You've obviously got your white sleeves and you've got your red body. And now, yes, I know that is what Arsenal is. You can't change the entire look of what your kind of branding is. But once again, yeah, it's just an Arsenal kit. It doesn't tremendously excite me.
It's a disgrace. That's what it is, a disgrace.
11th place, we've got another top Premier League club with Liverpool, the current Premier League champions. Now, yes, I know I've put this one quite low down on the list, but I'll be honest with you, this kit could change in its ranking depending on how they do this season.
Say what now?
Which I know sounds really irrelevant to just the aesthetics of a kit, but this does come across as one of those jerseys that could become iconic depending on how the season goes. It obviously kind of reminds me, it is an Adidas template like the Fulham one we saw earlier. It obviously reminds me of the early 2000s, kind of 2004, kind of Champions League era for Liverpool. And once again, as I said, it could be iconic depending on how Liverpool do this season. I could see if they end up winning the Premier League again, maybe winning the Champions League, something like that. This kit could become iconic. In 10th place, we've got Bournemouth. Now, as I said, this kit was released slightly later than all the other ones, and shock, it is black and red stripes. Who would have believed it?
No way!
And you know what? I don't hate this one. Once again, it's kind of a sponsor makes or breaks it. It is a pity that it is, you know, the sponsor's a fun time racism. Ooh, those are not two words I should say next to each other. You know what, the sponsor, once again, it would be nice if they just said something slightly more appropriate. I do like the gold though, and I do actually like that the red has a bit of differentiation in it. It is a darker red with kind of a different kind of red outline on it with the black in between. Once again, it's a bog standard Bournemouth kit, but it does work in my opinion. 9th place, I've gone for Wolves. Now at first glance, I did think that this did look like a boring any other Wolves kit, kind of with the orangey yellow with the black on it as well, but the closer you look, they've got a pattern on it, and I have to give them credit there, and I think they've done a better job at incorporating a pattern than Arsenal did a tiny bit earlier. I do like that they've got the Wolves logo there, and they've got a bit of pattern, kind of a mosaic thing going on around it. Yeah, once again, a Wolves kit is a Wolves kit, but I think they've done a really good job at kind of incorporating something different in there without it looking offensive. BJ88.
What is this?
In 8th place, I've gone for Manchester United. Now, I know it is my club. People might say I'm a tiny bit biased, putting them higher than Arsenal and Liverpool, but hey, you know what? Maybe I am. But on the other note, I mean, this hasn't been our best kit we've had over the last few years, but I still don't hate it. I do like the patterns incorporated here and there, and maybe it's just a personal thing, but I do like the fact that we've got the black and the white incorporated with the red. We've got different kind of tones, different richnesses when it comes to the red, which something needs to be rich in this Manchester United team. Yeah, at the end of the day, I do like it as a United kit. I do like that we've got the white sponsor on it. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Snapdragon itself, but yeah, I think in terms of the colors, they do end up working together. You know what, but maybe we could put a little less focus on our kit and a bit more focus on transfers. That would be nice, please.
Becoming emotional now.
7th place, we've got the Manchester rivals, Manchester City. Now, they've done something totally different this season. Very retro, very cool in my opinion, with the white slash across the middle. Now, I am a huge fan that they didn't just put a solid white line across the center, the diagonal, that it's kind of a painted stroke kind of look to it. I think as a pattern, it really works. And once again, although it is different, I can see it being a kit that does become iconic. And I do find that the kind of baby blue, light blue of Manchester City with the white, those colors work very well together. In 6th place, we've got Everton. Now, I know I said a tiny bit earlier that I'm not necessarily going to look at the club's history or anything outside of the aesthetic point of view when making these decisions, but I do like the wavy effect that Everton have, obviously moving away from Goodison Park. I believe they are closer or on the harbour now, so obviously having a wavy wavy design. I think it's quite cool. I mean, Everton kits for the last however long have always looked exactly the same in my opinion. I mean, I can just imagine Seamus Coleman in every single one, but that's maybe because he's played in every kit ever made for them at this point.
It's been 84 years.
But at the end of the day, I do like this as an Everton kit. It is something slightly different. It is the start of a new era. Yeah, I like what it symbolizes and I like what it looks like. Fifth place, I've gone for Leeds United. Now, I know this one could be controversial because it is one of those kits you love or hate, but I personally do like this Leeds kit. I know it looks a lot similar to like any other kit they've ever had, but I do like the trimmings on the sleeve, the trimming on the collar, kind of with the blue, white, yellow. I believe it is based around some of the tunnels they've got around Ellen Road, the stadium. And I personally really do like that Red Bull logo on the chest. Who knows, maybe Dan James is the perfect second driver for Red Bull in F1. Maybe he's the fastest option they can get. But jokes aside, I do like the red. It pops off the jersey quite nicely. Yeah, and I do like the overall aesthetic of the jersey. In fourth place, I've gone for Chelsea. Now, once again, this kit could move 8 places down the line, or it could move all the way up to the top, depending on what kind of sponsorship they can bring in. Because at the moment, they don't have a sponsor on their jersey, so it's really kind of hard to gauge what this kit would look like with a sponsor.
You're just ruining it. Look at my lips, you're ruining it.
So you know what, that could change absolutely everything. But looking at the current Club World Cup champions, I do like the Stamford Bridge kind of architecture that is on the kit. I know not a lot of people like it, but I think it's done quite tastefully, quite well, and it just stops it from being a plain blue kit. I personally like it. Now, jumping into my top 3, we've got Newcastle United. You know what? A lot of it does just look traditional in terms of the black and white stripes, but the light blue trimming absolutely makes it. It is a beautiful, elite looking Premier League kit, if you ask me. I think it really does well with this new genre or this new era of Newcastle United fighting for European football. I think it especially looks good on Alexander Isak. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks clean. I know not a lot of people kind of like the black hashes on the side of the solid lines, but I think it breaks up the pattern a bit. Once again, I know that's kind of contradictory compared to what I said about Sunderland earlier, which Newcastle Sunderland, someone's going to hate me out there. But yeah, some kits it works better than others, and I think it works here. Now, jumping into our top 2 kits, I've gone for, this is a tricky one. I'm going for Forest in second place and Burnley in first place. Now, those two could be totally interchangeable. I really do like both of them almost equally. But looking at Forest in second place, this reminds me of a Champions League kind of retro kit. Obviously very fitting according to their history. I think the shield around the badge really does look beautiful. I like the pinstripes between the solid ones. I like that they've got 2 different tones of red going down their jersey. I mean, there is nothing I would honestly change about this jersey. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I think it would look perfect on someone like Chris Wood. Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know what else to say about it. It is gorgeous. And as I said, I'm personally putting Burnley in first place here.
Get in there! Get in there!
Maybe it's because I'm a huge purple fan, although they say if you wear purple, it's because you're sexually frustrated. I prefer the term loner boner.
I don't know. I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
But I do think that this kit is gorgeous. I like the pattern on it. I know a lot of Burnley fans weren't necessarily a huge fan of it when it was released because it's not the same claret and blue that they kind of associate with the club's history. But I do think that it does look good for the change it is. I think people are just stuck to nostalgic reasons. I think the pattern looks really, really good on it. It looks especially cool on Kyle Walker. I'm not a huge fan of the sponsor itself, but I think with the colors that they use, it does work. And as a non-Burnley fan, I would 100% wear a kit like this. I personally do like it. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for me ranking all 20 Premier League home kits ahead of the 25-26 season. Let me know if you think I've gone drastically wrong anywhere. And as I said, let me know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite jersey across the whole world for this upcoming season? This has been Finn, FYWN. Don't forget to like and subscribe and help the channel grow. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.